Welcome back. Our political wrangling on the 2018 budget continues with delays in its approval and the expected boost to public infrastructure spending. The record 8.6 trillion naira budget was first presented in November. However, the National Assembly has announced that the budget will be passed on April 24. Now let's look at some perspectives on the budget 2018, the perennial delay and the implications for the Nigerian economy. I've been joined by an economic analyst and the CEO, Espera Global Corporation, Dr. Glenn Prince Abi, joining us from our Abuja studio. Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Abi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity of being with you again.
All right, it's the third year of this administration and their third full budget, and yet we are still going through budget delay. How does this impact the fiscal administration?
Well, Chimizi, as I've always said, that's the main problem we have in this country. Since the democratic experiment from 1999 to now, this has always been the problem, budget delays and all that. It has never happened once where the budget could actually be up and running from 1st of January in any year. And last year, I made a series of presentations and comments on this very matter. And I think the last was sometime in June when the budget had been passed and 3 weeks had gone and the presidential imprimatur had not been granted and all that. And I spoke vehemently about it, how the National Assembly, delayed the budget. Okay, so now we're in the same situation. Sometime, it was early November that the president presented the appropriation bill to the National Assembly, and sometime in January it was passed across in a plenary session of the National Assembly. The bill was passed across to the two committees, Appropriation Committee of the Senate and also Appropriation Committee of the House of Representatives, to look at the budget and all that. And then I was very shocked to observe that just yesterday in the papers, I'm seeing an advert by the committees inviting the public for public hearing, and also inviting memoranda, presentations and all that, both hard copy and soft copy, for a hearing session that will take place tomorrow. In other words, I saw the advert yesterday, and the hearing session is actually for today and tomorrow. So you can see that from the month of November, in 2017, when the president passed the budget, we are taking up to March ending for the appropriation committees to even carry out a hearing, on a public hearing and presentation of memoranda on the budget. So you can see that the main problem we have is actually the politics around budget appropriation and all that. We can see a lot of muzzle flexing between the National Assembly and Executive right from that time. And I have always been of the position that once the budget is passed, when the appropriation bill is proposed by the president, the National Assembly should sit down and work on it, even if it means suspending the holidays and suspending anything they're doing, just to face it. Why? Because the budget of the federal government is actually what will impact the lives of Nigerians. That is what will dictate the direction of the economy. So you can see that so much politics has already taken place, blame passing, buck passing here and there. And then just yesterday, an advert is placed that, okay, people could come make submissions and all that for a hearing that will take place today and tomorrow.
All right, Dr. Abi. Dr. Abi, if I may chip in there. When you talk about budget, of course, you talk about politics. But the issue is there any way the government can actually minimize or remove entirely politicking in budgeting process to be able to achieve economic growth?
Yeah, I find that very interesting because the entire idea of budgeting is economics. Okay, how the country can go forward in terms of its economic growth, how the lives of Nigerians can be impacted, and all that. So I think, and I strongly propose, and I am very vehement about that sentiment, that when it comes to budget, everything about politics should be out. For instance, look at it. We are in the third, we're closing the first quarter, and nothing has been done about the budget. And you do know, and every Nigerian knows, for instance, that the ERGP, that the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the federal government, for 2018 to 2020, okay? Now, you can see that we already lost the first quarter in that program for 2018. I don't know when the budget is going to pass. Okay, now let's say within the month of April, before the close of the month of April, the budget is going to be passed and moved on to the president for his own final sign off. We would have lost 4 solid months, okay? And then we now expect implementation to start to occur. So it is because of politics that it has delayed to that point. And the economic implication of that is huge on Nigerians, because once the president presents his budget for the year, we have now Nigeria's population is about 191 million today. So we have 191 million aspirations put at stake, 191 stomachs hungry, waiting for budget to be implemented so that they can tie their own economic aspirations on it. 191 million dreams all suspended because we have representatives or politicians in government who would prefer their political survival to the economic well-being of Nigerians. So when it has to do with the budget, I am very, very serious about the fact that it has to be treated with dispatch, so that it can affect, the positive impact, the positive projections about the budget can actually start to impact Nigerians.
Well, the National Assembly has promised that the budget will be passed, that's April 24. How about that?
Well, they made that promise, but sometime last year, I condemned that effort where, a budget has to be passed way into the year. This should have been finished, I mean, before the end of January. Even then, it's still not a pass mark, because I stated, for instance, the 2018 budget in the United States, 2018 budget was finished between the month of April and March and April last year. In other words, a year ahead, they had concluded this. So we are yet, as a country, the largest economy in the world, in Africa, the largest population in Africa, we are yet to transit. We're yet to transit to the digital age in terms of the speed and velocity with which we do things. So we are not strategic. We are not globally competitive. Just by following our attitude about budget passing and all that, it shows that